Abdul Carter to the New York Jets with the 7th overall pick has sounded far-fetched this entire pre-draft process, and it still does to me. But according to Nate Tyson, Charles McDonald, that's who they think the Jets will be selecting with the 7th overall pick in this year's NFL draft. Is that a realistic possibility for the Jets? Could Gang Green come away this lucky from draft night on April 24th? A lot to get into, and we'll break down the latest surrounding the NYJ and much more, all coming up here on a Tuesday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk with our guy Gunny Gumby of New York Jets Situation Report here in his weekly spot, right here, right now on NY Flight Jets Talk.
J-E-T-S, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer, and Jets legend, Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
What is going on, everyone? Hello and welcome back here to another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. I appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and it helps us grow significantly here on the channel. That's the free way to help us grow. The paid way helps us just as much. We'll throw the ticker on down below. You can get into our membership raffle. Every membership gifted or $2.99 super chat will get you a ticket into a raffle to win an epic prize. A Don Maynard signed photo, a Joe Klecko signed helmet, Joe Willie Namath Super Bowl III replica ring, a CJ Mosley signed jersey, a free item from our merch store, and a channel emoji among the prizes we are giving away this month. So make sure you get in on that if you haven't already. The more tickets you have, the higher chance you have to win our raffle. But nevertheless, joining me right now here in his weekly spot, fellow Jets content creator Gunny Gumby from New York Jets Situation Report, kind enough to grace us with his presence here on the show. And Gunny, we missed 2 weeks ago. We missed last week, which was completely my fault. I had to get a tooth pulled out, so I completely forgot to let Gunny know ahead of time. But hey, we're here, and hopefully it's to stay for a few weeks. Gunny, how you doing today?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, man. I just want to make sure, dog, because I remember last time I wasn't too sure if I had missed a day myself. It didn't click until I was on my show, and I was like, wait a minute, Connor, you're in the chat. We didn't have a show today. But yeah, man, doing pretty good. I'm actually in the same boat as you. Tomorrow I'm going to get to see the dentist. Hopefully nothing needs to get pulled. Yes. I'm not a fan of the dentist, but we'll see tomorrow. I'm too old to be having my teeth pulled. Hopefully that's not the case for me. But yeah, man, doing pretty good, man. And this whole conversation about Abdul Carter, I think it would be a dream if that's what happens. But we'll go ahead and get into it and talk about it, man.
1,000%. And I think we're just going to start right there with Abdul Carter, this mock draft that came out here from Charles McDonald and Nate Tice from Yahoo Sports. I'm going to pull it up here on the screen. I wrote it up for over at jetsxfactor.com. Let's zoom in here in a second. And Gunny, one of the main things I focus here on in these mock drafts is who was selected in the top 10. And I always make sure to include that in my article because people reading this headline that I put out here for the title, could Abdul Carter slip to the New York Jets in the NFL draft? Many people think, well, no. This is someone who's been discussed, widely regarded as the number one prospect in this year's draft. 1A and 1B with him and Travis Hunter atop most people's boards. But we're going to take a look here at the top 10 picks in the mock draft here from Nate Tyson and Charles McDonald. Cam Ward to the Titans. That pretty much seems like a lock at this point. Yeah, 100%. Travis Hunter to the Browns makes sense. The Lions need to fill roster spots. We've heard that buzz kind of going around. Shedeur Sanders to the Giants makes sense. Membu to the Patriots makes sense. Graham to the Jaguars makes sense. Ashton Genty to the Raiders makes sense.
It's a Raiders thing. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. While it sounds crazy at first, looking at the board, I mean, most teams went chalk. I'd probably say in this scenario, the Patriots would swoop up Carter, but Armand Membu makes a ton of sense for them. They need a lot of help on the offensive line. Still, looking at this top 10 now, Gunny, does it make it sound as crazy as it first does at first glance of no way Abdul Carter's falling to the Jets?
I won't lie, man. When I first heard this little bit of rumor coming out about this mock draft, I hadn't seen the mock draft specifically, and I just laughed at it, thinking to myself, you're right. Abdul Carter is not dropping to number 7. There's no way. And then when I saw the mock draft, I was just like, this actually makes a lot of sense, right? In terms of how it could happen. I think the Patriots really is the biggest threat to potentially getting a guy like Abdul Carter, but you stated it yourself. They need help on the offensive line. You know what I'm saying? They got that young quarterback in Drake May. They just brought in Josh McDaniels to run the offense. The last year, Drake May was running for his life, trying to go ahead and make things happen to a lackluster group at wide receiver. Look, man, the last thing you want is to have your quarterback's confidence get shaken because the offensive line doesn't get beat up. Yeah, granted, you might not have the weapons, but if you can protect him or put somebody in front of him to protect him and start building that wall, that goes a long way to developing a young quarterback. So when I saw this again, I was just like, yo, like there's a path for this. There's a legitimate path that Abdul Carter winds up falling to the New York Jets at number 7. And Abdul Carter is, don't get it twisted, the best prospect in this draft class. I don't think it's even close. I think if you had to do the whole generational thing or blue chip thing or whatever, he's the guy. Like he's the one where you look at it, you ask yourself, is he going to be a consistent Pro Bowler or a consistent All Pro? That's what you're looking at right now, trying to figure out what Abdul Carter is going to do at the next level. I don't think it happens. I think that this guy is just too good. I don't think it actually happens. But if you're looking at this mock draft, the picks that go ahead of him make sense for those teams. So there is a path or an avenue to which you look at it, and Abdul Carter is a New York Jet. Like, yeah, if we're going to go a defensive player, I think that's the guy. I've been screaming offense, all off season. And I think that's the route we need to take. But a guy like Abdul Carter, you can't let that dude pass. You have him, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald. Man, you've got a scary group of guys that can get after the quarterback and just wreak havoc on offensive linemen and quarterbacks. So I would hope this is the case. I would hope this happens. I don't think it will, but man, if it does, if you're a Jets fan, you should be extremely ecstatic because this is the best player, in my opinion, and countless other individuals in this draft class.
1,000%. And I just think, even if like edge, and I think you mentioned kind of you have to take him no matter what. People forget that edge is a massive position of need for this Jets team. And I referenced that. I'll pull this up later down here in the article. You guys know my stance on Will McDonald if you listened as of late. I mean, this is someone who had 10 sacks in a Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas-led defensive scheme. People act like Will McDonald is this menace against the run. People act like Will McDonald didn't only play third down for this team. Will McDonald is someone, Gunny, the Jets put in on third down last year who could just sack the quarterback. And he did that effectively, 10 sacks, but his run defense is horrific. Jermaine Johnson, we hope he's great, but we don't know what he's going to look like coming off that Achilles. And then after that, Braden McGregor, Rashad Weaver, Eric Watts. This team needs to add the edge rusher. Someone I wrote about a couple weeks ago was Zadarius Smith, who's still a free agent. I would really, really like if the Jets could get him post-draft because that wouldn't mess with the compensatory pick formula. This is someone who's a veteran, is going to get you double-digit sacks per season, has the connection to Aaron Glenn. Zadarius Smith is a name I'm really, really looking for here for this team. But, I mean, Gunny, the Jets are pretty much meeting with all these prospects now as we're less than 3 weeks away from the draft. A lot of top 30 visits underway. We saw the Jets met with Kyle Williams yesterday, which is the most kind of the most well-known one because Kyle Williams is someone who, let me try to pull my article up here on the screen. Kyle Williams is someone who was ranked very, very, very low at the start of the pre-draft process. People were kind of grading him out as a fifth, sixth round guy. And I mentioned that here in the article, but as of late, this guy from Washington State, Kyle Williams, has been on the rise for on draft boards overall. I know he's ranked number 2 overall on Sam Monson's board, and he's very, very high on a lot of people's boards. Here it is. One of the fastest risers in this year's draft, ranked 573rd overall on Mock Draft Database's consensus big board as recently as January 25th. Now he's at 100 overall. Gunny, would you be okay trying to add a guy like Williams in the third or fourth round of this year's draft?
Nah, 100%, man. You're talking about a guy who literally, I think it's like over 6 feet, about $190, if I'm not mistaken. He had over 131 catches, I think it was, or 140 catches, something like that. Anyway, this dude is explosive, extremely explosive. He's a guy that can go ahead and be an impact guy when it comes to the deep ball. I mean, talk about after the catch ability. The kid is he's an incredible complement to what we have with Garrett Wilson, right? Right now, when you look at Garrett Wilson, we need another guy in that room. The fact that he was brought in, I was excited about it. I think, again, Jets fans should be excited about it because this is a guy that I think if we're able to grab him, he is going to complement Garrett Wilson extremely well. Like, you're talking about a guy who's going to be the deep ball guy who can stretch the field. You know what I'm saying? And he has a really good understanding. If you watch the tape, man, of his ability to go ahead and pretty much find the soft spots. The great route running. I mean, again, there's nothing to not like about him. I guess you can always comment about, Washington State. You have some questions about the competition, but what he does extremely well translates to the NFL level, and that matters. And again, this is a guy we're not asking to be our wide receiver one. This is going to be a complementary piece to Garrett Wilson, another tool you give to Justin Fields to kind of get a gauge of whether or not the dude can play NFL quarterback or not. For those of us who are, clamoring for Chris Olave, this is actually a semi Chris Olave clone. I think Chris Olave is a little bit faster, but they both play very, very similar play styles when it comes to the wide receiver position.
1,000%. I mean, I always have concerns for someone, Gunny, who is ranked as a undrafted free agent at 572 overall and now is being viewed as a top 5 wide receiver on some people's boards. 4th, 5th round, if he's there, I wouldn't hate it.
100%.
I just like the more I would rather go with the more established names in the earlier rounds, whether it's Tet in the 1st or Jack Besh, who I mocked to the Jets in the 3rd round of my Jets X Factor mock draft. He's someone I really like, who's going to be explosive, who's going to get you that yak. Senior Bowl MVP, just someone who's a more proven prospect. Jaden Higgins from Iowa State is another name I'm really, really intrigued by in the 2nd round. Can play all 3 wide receiver spots, has the alignment, versatility, is a deep ball threat for any team he goes to. So those are the names I'm really tabbing as the guys I'm going to look out for. Some other names I wanted to get into here on this list, specifically Ariante Ursary. He was one of the first guys the Jets scheduled a top 30 visit with. This is someone who is probably going to go in the 2nd round. The Armand Membu rumors are starting to heat up. It's looking like he might be the consensus favorite to be selected by the New York Jets with the number 7 overall pick alongside Tyler Warren. Let's say the Jets go Warren, some sort of pass catcher. They don't go offensive line. Thoughts on potentially trying to bring in Ursary in the 2nd round to kind of anchor down that right side for you?
Makes sense, right? Again, you're talking about a position of need right now. You've got more question marks at that right tackle position than you do anywhere else across that line. An offensive line that, again, finished as a top 10 unit once you got rid of Tyron Smith last season, took him out of the equation. This group is young, they're hungry, and they proved last year they can block for an older, slower Aaron Rodgers. I'm curious as to the trajectory with a mobile quarterback who can extend plays and allow those guys to go ahead and pretty much hold on to the box a little bit longer, or not as long if need be, because he can escape the pocket. So I think right now the offensive line is definitively a concern. The second round pick, I think you take that approach, offensive line, you take the approach, defensive line, and I think we're all happy with that. Tyler Warren with the number 7 pick is something that I do believe is going to be the case. I think that's the more realistic option for the New York Jets. If you look at that tight end room, it doesn't scream confidence, and you're bringing in the guy like Justin Fields, and you need another pass catching weapon in that room. I know a lot of us love Ted. I love Ted, but I think Tyler Warren provides you more of a well-rounded skill set where he can catch the ball. He's a willing blocker. I love his football acumen as well. And again, tight ends are a quarterback's best friend. And if it's not for Justin Fields this year, maybe he's the best friend of the future quarterback next season when you draft him. So I think Tyler Warren, for me, man, that's the guy, man. I think he's the most realistic draft pick for the New York Jets in this draft. I think he is. But again, like you said before, 2nd round, you go ahead and you tackle the right tackle position. Makes a lot of sense. You can also tackle the defensive line. Also makes a lot of sense.
Well, 100%. I mean, this team does have a lot of needs when all is said and done. And I've kind of taken an interesting approach to addressing those needs with some of my takes. Here's what I want to propose to you, Gunny, here before we go over to the phone lines. I know we got some more time with you here. Here's one thing I want to propose. The Breece Hall trade rumor is heating up. Would you be okay trading Breece for a 3rd round pick and selecting Ashton Jeanty with the 7th overall pick if he's available?
Absolutely not. Listen, okay. I think Ashton Jeanty is a stud. I do. I think he's going to do some damage at the NFL level. But we already have a stud who can do damage at the NFL level, and he's proven it at the NFL level with no help, no assistance, no offensive line, incompetent coaching. And I know a lot of the fear factor was the fact that after next season you could lose a guy like a Brees Hall, but this is the running back position. It's no longer the coveted position it once was. I am not a fan of using a first round pick on running back. I'm just not. And as enticing as Ashton looks, you've seen the impact of the first round running back. I mean, Saquon Barkley just won his Super Bowl going to the Eagles. It took him a while, his second team, to get that thing figured out. I just don't think the value is there for the running back position, especially when you're talking about a running back room like we have, where you're going to go ahead and run some of these young guys via committee. So I personally am not on the bandwagon of trading Brees Hall for a third round pick. That math is not mathing for me. Ashton Jeanty is a stud. I'm not going to debate that. I'm not going to argue that he is. But it's the running back position. Unfortunately for him, he plays a position that's been devalued over the last several years in the NFL level. Some people are already comparing him to a faster Christian McCaffrey. And I'm like, we need to stop. Like, again, football IQ does matter at this point, right? And I'm not saying Ashton doesn't have it, but McCaffrey is a very smart football player. Like, it's not just his physical ability. He's got quarterback level acumen at the running back position. So I think we need to stop the comparisons. As exciting as it would be to go ahead and have a shiny new toy, it's not a need for us. Not even close. I think you keep a guy like Brees Hall, who's proven he can play at the NFL level, even when the box is stacked against him, and you go ahead and add some pieces around on this roster that can actually benefit in the long term, not just a shiny new toy like a running back would.
Gunny, we usually agree on a lot of topics. I am in
this is
the
different.
polar opposite here.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Okay. So this is where I am. I get everything you say about Brees, and I understand why a lot of people like Brees Hall and they want to keep him. A few things to keep in mind here when it comes to watching Brees Hall's all-purpose yards. First thing, first 2 seasons with the league, he was a safety net for Zach Wilson. Was not able to air the ball out downfield. Boom, dump it off. That's how he picked up a lot of his all-purpose yards. People talk about the ranking during the 2023 season on, how many all-purpose yards he had. Let's not forget that he ranked about 14th in rushing yards, and a lot of those yards were receiving yards from Zach Wilson dumping the ball off to him in the backfield and taking off. That's where a lot of Brees Hall's yards came from. Second thing, last season, improved offensive line play, better quarterback play, better overall circumstance on the offense. Brees Hall declined significantly in every single category for this team. And even if you don't do the statistics, you can watch the film. Struggled to break tackles. His vision, which has been an issue since he came out of college, has gotten worse and worse every single season. This is someone who fumbled the ball 6 times. He fumbled the ball 3 times in 2023, and twice during his rookie season where he played only 4 games. Ball security, another issue. The elusiveness for me just isn't there. This is someone who's entering the final year of his contract. If you can get a 3rd round pick for him, that means you can treat again. I would be okay taking Jeanty in the 1st round. And if you trade Brees, because this is why, Gunny, this team does not have the all-in mentality. They're not in the all-in window they were with Aaron Rodgers for 2 seasons. Let's say, Gunny, the Jets patch. The Jets get a few starters here, at some point in this draft. The first 2 players you get are starters. Let's say you draft Armand Membu in the 1st round and you draft Elijah Arroyo or Jaden Higgins in the 2nd round. 2 really, really, really solid draft picks. Mm-hmm. One more yes or no here, Gunny. Does that change your stance on this team going to the Super Bowl?
No, it does not.
Perfect. So even if you patch the major holes on this team is not scrunched in the window where they fill a few holes. Oh my God, they're going to win the Lombardi Trophy like it was a few years ago. You might as well take the best player available, who would be Ashton Jeanty, someone who's broken over, who went for almost, nearly 2,000 yards after contact, forced 152 missed tackles. You get the best football player. And I get what you're saying there, Gunny, about valuing the running back position. But Aaron Glenn does not value premium positions. He values premium football players. Jack Campbell, linebacker, 1st round pick. Penei Sewell, offensive tackle, 1st round pick. Jahmyr Gibbs, 1st round pick, 2023, after fans were rioting after the Lions had David Montgomery under contract. I know our guy David D, who's a Lions fan in the chat. David could probably go back and he wouldn't think twice about making that move today. It's about making your team overall better. And I think Ashton Jeanty does that for you, Gunny.
I mean, I understand the argument. I truly do. I just think when it comes to the running back position, they haven't been impact game changers in their first contracts in a very long time. Christian McCaffrey wasn't an impact game changer in his first contract. Neither was Saquon Barkley in his first contract. And we're not a team that I think can really take advantage of having a shiny toy at running back. Now, ultimately for me, it's about building this thing. I'm being honest, and I do believe that we're about a couple years away before we start talking about like maybe Super Bowl contenders. I think this team has enough talent in it in terms of per capita that they could surprise us and maybe make a wild card next year, but that's their ceiling. And Ashton Genty would definitively add to that ceiling being a little bit. I can give you that. But I just look at the running back position, man, as a whole. And you're right, he's a football player, but it's a different NFL. It's a different NFL. If we're talking about like early 2000s, you know what I'm saying, even mid 2000s, I might even consider it. But in 2025, you know what, the tight end position, the wide receiver position, the offensive line position, defense, all of those have so much more value. And you're in a position right now where you're trying to go ahead and again, build this thing the right way for the long term. To go ahead and give up and to me a premium asset, you know, a premium pick for a running back when there's still so many components we got to go ahead and fill out. I can't get on board. And everything you're saying makes sense. I get that. I really do. It doesn't make sense. I just think that I don't think Ashton is going to be the answer to allow us to expedite the process of this team being a long-term success. I just don't. And by the time he's in his second contract with a different team, he's probably going to go ahead and win a Super Bowl. I don't think he would benefit us. And that's why I look at like those premium positions in terms of longevity and the impact that they can have long term, because I think we're a couple of years away, man, from being in the conversation. And I'm saying a couple of years as a homer, as a Jets fan homer, to being in the conversation. I think if you're being realistic, we're still a little ways away, because this past season taught me one thing, man. We overvalued what this team was. I think as fans, even the media, they overvalue what the New York Jets was.
I don't even think it was the roster. I think it was the coaching, because the whole
coaching
focus
is massive. Yeah. I think the coaching was a massive debacle. I think you and I talked about this before. I don't think we had a single game this year where I went into it thinking to myself, like, yeah, we have the coaching advantage in the I never felt it. Never felt it. So I do believe, I'm hoping anyway, that Aaron Glenn can change that, right? Coming into this game, seeing it not just from a player's perspective, but as a coaching perspective, give us a couple of advantages. But I still think, like, for you to go ahead and put it all together in terms of building this culture, overcoming what has been the chaos at One Jets Drive, we're a couple years away, man. Again, it wouldn't shock me if we make a wild card next year, but I do believe that'd be the ceiling. I think the following season will probably be the year where we could potentially surprise somebody like the Washington Commanders did this year, going all the way into the freaking NFC Championship game. So just my thoughts on it, man. But again, it's hard to argue with you because everything you're saying makes so much sense. But I'm just going off of what I've seen and where I think we're at as an organization.
Get that 1,000%. Gunny, do we have time for 2 quick questions and a call here?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I bet. Let's do it. We'll go to Jay Luby first. He says, "Who's better for the Jets, Membu or Campbell?" Gunny, I would probably say Membu for this team, just because you get like the premium. I'm gonna be honest, neither one of them are in my top 3 for players I want the Jets to draft. But I'd say Membu just because he's more athletic. You get the right tackle. I think Campbell's gonna be guard at the next level, and I don't want to use a top 7 pick on an offensive guard in this league. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I stand with you on that one, man. If we had to do it, it's Membu, but I'm also with Connor. I don't want either or at pick 7. Now, if you're talking about that whole Kyle Pitts situation where we go ahead and we trade for Kyle Pitts and we get the trade back and maybe 15, different situation, man. But at 7, I think that we're throwing away a valuable asset for these 2 guys, right tackle. Like at number 7, you're talking about left tackles. Like at 7, you're thinking to yourself, okay,
you're getting a cornerstone.
Cornerstone piece, right? So yeah, I'm not a fan of either or, but if you're telling me gun in my head, I got to pick one, I'm gonna go with Membu as well. Secure that right tackle spot. I think Campbell at the next level, his ceiling is guard. I don't see him being able to make that transition to the tackle spot.
I'm going to pull up this draft chart that just came out on ESPN.com's draft predictor. This is like apparently like we see the betting odds every year, but apparently this is ESPN's draft predictor. I'm going to zoom in here for a second. And a lot of surprises. Not a surprise with Membu. as the consensus right there. Number 2, Jalen Walker. This is a name that's emerged recently.
Yeah, a lot.
Genty, number 3 on that list, my guy Genty. 4 is Campbell. 5, Shadur Sanders. 6, Tyler Warren. 7, Tet McMillan. So I don't think Tet should be that low on that list. I'm surprised Warren is that low. Surprised Genty and Walker are that high.
Yeah, I am too. I won't lie. I'm very surprised. Again, these are the individuals we call professionals. Sometimes I have to ask the question if they're doing this because they know it's going to get engagement. Guys like you and me are going to pull this and we're going to have a discussion about it, or if they truly believe it. I do believe some of those top tier guys are a little bit lower than they should be. I don't know, man. I think for us, I really like Tyler or I like Tet. I do. I just like Tyler or Tet. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to stay at 7, I think that should out. If somehow, some way Abdul Carter drops to us, no questions asked, run to the podium, you turn the card in. Like, that's one of those picks where it's not the top priority in terms of a need, but this dude is going to be a dog.
That's my Genty argument, kind of.
Right. So, yeah.
But Edge is a more premium position, like getting a legit pass. I'll say that. Like, I'd rather have a guy who's going to get you 15 sacks a year and is going to be confident against the run than get someone who's going to be a generational running back. And I love Genty. I love Genty and Carter. I would take Carter over Genty any day of the week.
I think Genty is a stud. I'm not knocking Genty. Whatever team he goes to, he's going to make them better. Like, even if he comes to us, he's going to make us better. I'm just thinking in terms of by the time we're able to utilize him, contract to be freaking due, and he might end up going to the freaking Chiefs for all we know and taking them on a Super Bowl run. And that's when I look at it and I get frustrated thinking about that being the possibility. But no, Genty, I think Genty and Carter are literally the only 2 guys you can look at and you make the argument of how many Pro Bowls or how many All Pros these guys make. Like, when you look at them, I think that's their floor/ceiling.
Yeah, for sure. So one quick question here, and then we got a call, and then we'll wrap up the show. Where were we here? David D, our Lions fans. It's Connor and Gunny. Around what spot in the draft would you be comfortable with the Jets selecting Georgia safety Malachi Starks?
I love Malachi Starks, man. I really do.
So do
I love him so much. If I'm being honest with you, I'll tell you right now, I think the safety position right now is dire. I feel like we are We've got a lot of hope. I do like Cisco. The more and more I'm watching of Cisco, I even like the way he's engaging on social. Yeah, I like how he was like, oh, bro, you pat that ball, we get it. I like that. I like that energy. Yeah. But in terms of the safety room, it's lacking, right? I think we need to go ahead and make some more dogs into it. If you tell me Malachi Starks is our second round pick, I won't be mad at it. I would love him in the third, but I don't think he drops past that.
I think he's going in the first. I think he's going in the first.
You think he's going in the first? I don't know about the first.
I think he's him. I think him and Amanwari, one of them will go in the first round.
I'd say one of them
will go to the Vikings. One of them will go to the Vikings. Amanwari's like my dream in the second.
I think,
Like, I love Amanwari. Right now, where I'm leaning at safety, I don't want to use a too high of a pick. Kevin Winston is someone I like at 73. He just concerns me a little bit with that Achilles injury he'll be coming off of. I really, really like Lathan Ransom from Ohio State. He's your classic ball hawker who's going to play hard. He's going to run downhill. He's going to stop the run for you. He's going to force fumbles. So those are the 2 main guys I really have my eye on. But I know we only got a few minutes left with Gunny, so we'll go over to the phone lines. We'll take a call. Our guy Brian is up here on the show. Brian, how you doing?
What's up, fellas? Good to see you both. Love your collabs. All right, here's where I'm coming from. AVT, 5th-year guarantee. Right, 5th year, fully locked in, $15 million. He's looking to probably make $11 to $12 million on a long-term deal. I say you lock him up now before the draft, and you extend him, probably be top 15 guard money. I was thinking he probably deserves more. That lowers his cap hit for this year. That's a good thing for our team. Lock up more homegrown players. MC2, we got Sherwood. You know, they already did Quinnen. Let's get this one done. Next year, we may not be able to bring Simpson back. I'm looking at over the cap, and here's just some facts that I'd love to hear your opinion on. We know we've got about 42 million in dead cap with Rodgers and CJ. When you add up Tyrod, Simpson, Cisco, all the void years for Quincy, Lazard, that's another 19.5. All right. Shocking numbers. That's 62 million in dead cap next year of players who won't be on the team. The reason I bring that up is because extending AVT now, drafting smart, and looking to re-sign our own, that's next season's off season. Just know that. Whoever we don't lock up now, that's next year. So we need cheap, young talent. I think positionally, while I love Warren as the player and Genty as the player, I just don't see the positional value at number 7 as an uneducated, not inside a GM's office. That's my take. Building the O-line and D-line, either you're protecting our quarterback or you're getting after the other guy's quarterback. So much more value. Carter falls to us, back on your topic. That's amazing. I'll run up to the podium myself. Green Bay is only like a 5-hour plane ride for me.
I'll run from Texas to turn it in myself if Abdul Carter drops a 7.
Right?
Yeah, that's a dream for me. With that, I'll touch on the thing you said about AVT. I like that. I like that they're playing him at guard because you get a ton of tackle flexibility. He's a top 15 tackle in my eyes. If 100%. He were to come in and play tackle, he's one of my favorite players on this football team, and he's an All-Pro guard. The way I look at that, I think it's a really, really strategic decision here by Darren Mujian. He's a big, analytics type guy. He's on the younger side. I think what he's thinking here by playing AVT at guard is perfect. We're going to lock him in. He's been solid at guard. You have great flexibility with him at tackle. And since he's going into a contract year, you can pay him like a guard rather having to pay the premium price for a tackle. And then he's an all right tackle. You pay the premium. He's a solid tackle. You pay the premium price. I'd rather pay him like an all-pro guard and get that top 15 tackle flexibility. What about you, Gunny?
1,000% in agreement. I love that you brought up AVT. Again, same situation here. Love the guy. One of my favorite players. It's not just about his performance on the field. It's about how he is willing to do what it takes for the team to win games. Doesn't matter if it's out of position, if he's banged up. The injury concern has been a problem, obviously, right, which is, of course, frustrating. But I would pay that man right now. I would pay him right now top guard money because he offers you the ability to play all pro level guard or starting level tackle. Now, keep him at guard because I feel like every time we've moved him into that tackle position, it has not worked out well for us, but we know he can play it. I love AVT, man, and I think he epitomizes team player, right? The kind of guy you want to give a check to so everybody else realizes you're a team guy. You're willing to go ahead and do what it takes on that offensive line, out of position, whatever it takes to win games. We're going to take care of you. I think it sets the precedence. We're talking about shifting the culture. You keep a guy like AVT in the building to show like, yeah, we're serious about keeping the dogs that want to play for us in the building. So, yeah, no, 100% in agreement. If you want to give AVT top 10 guard money right now, top 5, I'd be okay with it because I do believe he's that guy. And like you said before, it would offer us some cap flexibility in terms of all the dead cap we're eating right now because of Rodgers and, of course, CJ Mosley. So, yeah, no, I'm on board with you guys in that aspect.
So one benefit. So I'm on the Membu train, right? I think stock up the O-line. It's going to help Field. It's going to help everything. It's going to help next year and beyond.
I get that.
Our best Jets teams were when we had DeBrickashaw, Mangold, we had studs, we ran the ball. You knew we were running it and we ran it.
And anyway. You couldn't stop us.
I love that. Yep. I want that for my team. And if Membu plays next to AVT's value next year, when you try to sign him, is going to be more. Someone will get signed and he'll be playing better. I say now is the time, like week 6 of this year on Jake's show. And I said, extend Sherwood now. And everyone was like, you crazy, Ryan, you're crazy. I'm saying Harry Roseman would do it. Do what the Eagles would do. Dude knows how to pay players, keep a culture, get them locked in at lower.
Except he paid Bryce Huff 4 years, $52 million or whatever that was.
But let's be honest, though, we wanted to pay him that kind of money too.
Oh no, which was crazy.
we were mad.
I liked it at the time, and I hate to say this, Will McDonald reminds me a lot of Bryce Huff in that sense. Like has that, and I'm sure people are gonna hate me for that, but I mean, it doesn't take much to realize this is someone who struggled mightily against the run last season. Someone who came in and played third down, was trending towards bust after year one after being a first round pick. Now all of a sudden, people view him like this all pro talent. No, he's not an all-pro. Again, people are forgetting that this was a Jeff Ulbrich, Robert Saleh-led defensive scheme. Will McDonald is someone you plug in there on third down who's just going to sack the quarterback for you. Like, I see Wildwave saying I would trade him. I wouldn't hate it, but like, what are you getting? I'm not trading Will McDonald for a fourth-round pick. I'd rather just hold on to him.
Just keep on to
him. At that point, just keep him and hold the value out. Brian, I appreciate you hopping on with us. You got any final thoughts here?
Thanks for having me. And when the Jets are playing with a lead, we're all going to be talking about how Will McDonald is a superstar because he's going to kill the other team if we got a touchdown and a half lead. And I'm looking forward to seeing him kind of prove us all wrong. Like we're expecting more from him. Let's just put him in there when we know they got to pass and let's shut him down.
There we go.
And we all like sacks.
If
we see more of them, we're going to be excited, man. Appreciate you, Ryan.
For sure. Yeah, Gunny, I know you got to run. I'm going to stay on here a little longer, guys. Answer your questions, take your calls. But Gunny, appreciate you hopping on with us. As always, you got any final thoughts here before we let you go?
Yeah, man. Draft's right around the corner, man. I think there's a lot to be excited about. The majority of it, I will tell Jets fans, is we are not going to win the offseason the way we've won the offseason the last couple of years. It obviously didn't pan out well for us. And this is a different regime in which they're trying to go ahead and do this thing right. Lots of quiet acquisitions, lots of quiet free agent signings. They're trying to go ahead and build this thing from the ground up in terms of foundation. And although we've got some real, I think, talented key pieces, it's still a process. So I'm excited for the draft. I am. I think how they move is going to say a lot about the direction of this franchise. But it's the offseason. We got to have fun. We got to have hope. I appreciate you guys for having me on. I'm going to jump on and in here for the hangout in about 15 minutes. If Connor is done, feel free to go ahead and jump on and hang out with us. And we're going to talk about some of these trade scenarios too.
Oh, yeah, we'll be wrapping up right around 9. We just have one call left, and then we got a couple questions. So, Gunny, appreciate it, and have a great rest of your night.
All right, brother. Have a good night, Connor. See you next week.
Peace, ladies and gentlemen. Jets content creator Gunny Gumby from New York Jets Situation Report checking in here on the show in his weekly spot. Shoot him a follow, shoot him a sub. Gunny's the GOAT. Appreciate him sparing some time with us. He joins us here on the show every single Tuesday night at 8 p.m. EST. One more call here before we wrap up. It's our Chiefs fan. Former, what are you? How many Super Bowls have you been alive for, King Jamie? I was trying to calculate it. I was like, great time.
Just these recently, bro.
Okay.
It was a lot of sad Sundays before that.
A lot of Scott Pioli, a lot of
mediocre teams, man. We had the bad years, we had the good years. So I just need like 60 seconds, man. I gotta say this. I've been watching what you guys are doing. It's pretty impressive, bro. I'm liking Aaron Glenn more and more and more. And I dig your show. You do a good job, bud.
Appreciate you, Jamie.
You are what, I hope Brett Veach finds. I know. So my general manager, okay, so he finds all the.
By the way, does he have single digit losses throughout his? He's probably 8. Let me check. I gotta check that.
He's a genius, bro. He's amazing. And if you could just learn to love the Chiefs, I want you to be my next GM because you're that good with picking good players,
I appreciate it, Jamie.
I got to tell you, though, sometimes we get pretty hyped up on these guys and they look really good in college and stuff, but it doesn't really translate as well as you would hope,
Yeah,
but,
there it is, 132.
Oh,
it's crazy.
He's so good, man. He's so good. He's just, I trust everything he wants to do. This year, he's got almost a gift. He gets to just pick the best guy available. I mean, the Chiefs fixed all the holes in the offseason. And the Chiefs are a championship team, and it takes coaching. And I'm seeing the Jets get some coaching guys go in there that they want to do well. They want to show you Jets fans what they can do. I say, let's give him a shot, bro. I'm a low-key Jets fan, right?
Yeah.
right? But
I see you on the AFC's roundtable.
I mean, for real, bro. I mean, I support Richie and I support you and Matt and all these Jets guys.
Yeah.
You know, I could rattle off a lot of names. I try to support you guys. You know,
Appreciate you, King.
What I'm saying, bro, is I think they brought in Justin Fields, right, to be your quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because they're planning on bringing in a new kid that kind of has a style like that. I think that's what I'm seeing from outside looking in. I think it's pretty good. I told you about Milrow a long time ago, man. Sometimes it's the ones that you don't think are going to be the ones that just pow. Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to put them in the same category at all, right?
He reminds me like the ceiling's hurts with him. The ceiling is hurt. The floor is Richardson.
No,
like that's
who. I don't see that.
How?
So I see maybe that kid could just all of the sudden bring back some sort of Fran Tarkenton vibes.
I don't think so.
Really?
The way you're hitting on him,
wheels, dude. When he runs,
the way you're hitting on him is like with the power that he has in the run game, like running a power option, his ability, his elusiveness to cut down the sideline and pick up 15, 20 yards. But he also has insane arm strength. The question is, how are they going to utilize that? I mean, he struggled.
What did Fran Tarkenton say? He said, if nobody else is going to do it, I'm just going to go win this game or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, you still need a quarterback.
That's what I see. That kid's got some juice, bro. And if you get him, I want him to see this, okay? Because I got faith in you. I think you can do really well. I wanted you at the beginning, and even Connor will say it. Connor will say it. he'll have my back on that one. I got some faith in you. I had some faith in Zach, but he didn't have the mustard for New York. He's a good kid. He just didn't have the mustard for you guys. You guys are animals.
Well, one thing I'll add about Milrow is it would make sense if you think about it, because typically, like if you have a mobile quarterback, for example, so I'll give a great example. Point to the Ravens with Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley. Two very, very similar skill sets. Obviously, Tyler Huntley isn't even close to the caliber of a player Lamar Jackson has, but you could tailor the same style offense around both of those guys. Pretty much do the same with Milrow and Fields. And the thing I like about the Milrow thing, I wrote a column for JetX about it the other day. That I put him as the third developmental quarterback I want to go after in this year's draft. He was 3. McCord was 2, Howard was 1. Those are my top 3 guys. Okay. And like as like a developmental option. My thing with Milrow is you draft him, thing I like is he has time to sit behind 2 very, very mobile quarterbacks in Fields and Tyrod. Like you don't have to force him into a starting role right away.
You guys got Tyrod as your backup. I mean, I've always thought he was good. And he was like, to me, I was like, come on, man, you can do this, bro. I always liked Tyrod. Always, his whole career. And he ended up being a backup, and he just does a good job. That's all you want. You want a backup that does a good job. You want a starter that's going to have the mustard. And Justin's been handed some bad bread. You know, I mean, he's putting his mustard where there's no ketchup, you know.
100%. I get that 1,000%. King, appreciate you hopping on with me. You got any final thoughts here before we let you go?
Good luck. Good luck, you guys. I really hope you can work out a playoff or something. That would be pretty sweet this year. But I think if you get Milrow, he starts week 10.
Wow. Coming with the hot take on Jalen Milrow, ladies and gentlemen, our Chiefs fan, King Jamie the Mad. Checking in on the program. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Back tomorrow, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. We'll be back tomorrow. Matt O'Leary. Oh, my camera's kind of fuzzy. Excuse me. There in his weekly spot. If you missed it yesterday, we had Greeny on the show, and Greeny, telling you right now, one of the nicest guys ever. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. Super, super fun to talk to. Someone I've idolized for a long time in this industry. You know, got him on the show yesterday. 27-minute and 12-second long interview. I'm going to throw the link in the chat. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. Great Jets talk with Greeny. Just such a great voice, made so many great comments, came in with a Fields hot take. So if you want to check that out, I just threw the link in the chat. I highly recommend it. Again, Greeny's such a great guy. Super duper fun to talk to. So please check that out if you haven't already. It was a blast chopping it up with one of the best in the business, but nevertheless, appreciate you tuning in. Be back here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. EST with Matt O'Leary. Appreciate the real ones who come in here every single freaking day and support us on the show. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, as always, that'll do it for me. I am your host, Connor Long, signing off here on NY Flight Jets Talk, JTS, Jets, Jets, Jets.